Putting Aqib Talib on IR. Had the fractured ribs. After discussing this with kind of our medical staff, coaches, talking with Aqib, that's what we think is going to be the best thing as we move forward. Joseph Noteboom, he got his ACL and his MCL, so he's going to have surgery, and he'll obviously be out for the rest of the year. John Johnson's going to get his shoulder evaluated, and then Malcolm Brown also injured his ankle yesterday, and he'll be day-to-day on that. There's a possibility, yeah. So, really, he's got to get an MRI. He's going to get a second opinion, and we'll be able to have some updates on that as really after tomorrow. I think that's something that could potentially come up, but before he gets that second opinion, I want to wait and out of respect for him and kind of just to wait to hear what he says, see what comes from that. He's going to get a second opinion tomorrow. Yes. Yeah, he's making good progress, Lindsay. He's day to day right now, and we're hopeful to be able to get him back for Atlanta. Yep. No, I don't think it's deflating. It's just something that we have to navigate through. And, you have a choice in how you react to it. You feel terrible for these guys because it means so much to them that are going to be forced to miss time, and they put so much time and energy into it. And then it presents an opportunity for guys to step up, and it presents an opportunity for us to be what we say. And this is a challenging time, but it's not something that you're going to let be deflating. Just go back to work, and that's really the only thing that we can control. And that's really what you just, you got to keep focusing on that, go back to work. And, you look at it every single week, especially in football, there's things that, are surprising and teams seem to think, okay, they're deflated or whatever, and teams find a way to respond. And I trust that hopefully we're going to be one of those teams that, people seem to think that things aren't going that well, but I think our guys are continuing to believe they're staying the course, and we're going to see this thing through. Yeah. No, we did. It was really just something about just with consulting it with, our medical staff, just making a decision on, just the entirety of everything. And that was kind of really what went into it. He will.
What does the loss of Talib mean? And do you guys plan to bring him back after 8 weeks?
Yeah, that's something that, we haven't discussed yet. We just know that was the decision we're going to make as far as the IR is concerned. What he's meant in terms of his presence and just all the things that Aqib has really brought to this locker room. He means a lot. I've learned a lot from him. I've appreciated the way that he's consistently led, been a great sounding board for a lot of the guys, and his understanding of the system that we've been running the last couple of years. I mean, I think he's a Hall of Fame player. When you look at just what he's done over the course of his career, and and that's really kind of where we're at with that right now, and very appreciative of him. And then Troy did a nice job yesterday. It is yes, it's his right shoulder. Yes. Yeah, that's something that we'll discuss. Look outside. We'll see if there's guys available, maybe to add some depth. But we'll fill the starting spot from inside. Jamil's had a chance to play a lot of snaps. David Edwards is a guy that we have a lot of confidence in. So those are things that we're going to work through, and we'll figure out as the week continues on. It's a big loss, and he had done a nice job. I thought, really he was on track. Started out, really physical, did an excellent job to start out in the minimal snaps that he did have until he ended up having to exit, and that's really unfortunate because I thought he made a lot of progress in the early stages of this season. A lot of things that he can really draw on to learn from, and I know that he'll attack this rehab process and he'll come back. But I think this will serve him really well, as you look towards hopefully a very bright future with this organization. Marquis Christian would if that was the case. Yeah.
Where does the hope come from now for improvement in the offensive line?
Well, I think what you do is you look at, all right, what are the reasons that maybe it hasn't worked out the way that we've wanted, and there's a lot of different things, but we talk about being solution-oriented, and let's talk about playing with the right fundamentals, the right techniques, making sure that we're getting in and out of the right looks that we want, whether we're in protection, whether we're in the run game, and it's a collaborative effort. There certainly isn't, really the entirety of some of the things that we've got to do better. Everybody has their involvement in it, and I trust that if everybody does that, good things will result in that. Yeah, it's been, it's definitely been a little bit different. Like Lindsay asked earlier, it's been, we've been very fortunate, and in a lot of instances, sometimes it's luck. Sometimes there's some things that you feel like you can avoid with the approach that you take, some of the sports science things, and we've gotten a couple things that haven't worked out in our favor. I mean, you look at the way that it happened with Joe. Brian was just kind of snapping off a blitzer, and he knocked him right into Joe, who's in pass protection, and those are the unfortunate things when you got a lot of bodies and a lot of tight spaces, and things can get rolled up on. So it's been unfortunate, but it is something that, a lot of teams have to deal with. And we're certainly not going to make any excuses. No one's feeling sorry for us. We feel sorry for the players that have to miss time. But, in the meantime, we've got to, be ready to go, and we can't let it be something that sets us back. Well, really, I think you look at it in the first half. We had 24 snaps, and the first drive obviously was successful. The second drive, we ended up going 3 and out, where we had a negative run on the first play. Then we hit Cooper Kupp for a 5-yard gain, and then we take the sack on third down. The third drive, we ended up getting it into field goal range, but they called the holding they called the penalty on Andrew on the screen that would have given us a chance to potentially get a field goal off. And then obviously the last series, we ended up not being able to punch it inside the 1. So, it wasn't the exact production that you want, but we had our opportunities to come away with points, and we didn't do that. And there was a lot of different reasons as a result of that. So there was minimal opportunities to actually throw the football, in the first half. And then I think you set yourself behind the sticks against a really good team like that, and we were just never able to really get into a good rhythm, and that was kind of what ended up happening. Yeah, it's getting plays off. We're killing ourselves with early down efficiency. When you're not efficient in the early downs, or you have penalties that set yourself back, you want to get into a rhythm, you got to get plays off. We had a 7-play drive where you say pretty good rhythm there. Well, we were able to, get first downs. You avoided the third down. So, the key to any sort of continuity, and I don't think Jared, because we had such minimal snaps, because we don't convert on third down, we don't convert on fourth down. So to even get into the flow, to allow guys to get into a rhythm where you're getting consecutive plays off, it makes it really difficult. And, make no excuses about it. We got to play better, and we've all got to do better, but it's something that, we're not going to enable ourselves to ever have any sort of flow offensively if we're not more efficient on those early downs, and we do things to, prevent ourselves from putting ourselves in those tough positions, in those manageable down and distances. That's where you want to live in. I think it's as soon as you put him on, in terms of the designated to return. Yeah, my understanding, I don't think you can make it retroactive. Mm-hmm. Those are things that Les and I would discuss, and really, if we felt like it was somebody that, in the short term, but then also you have a long-term perspective on that would help us. Those are things that we're always looking into, and he does a great job of kind of having a pulse for the entirety of the league and guys that might be available. But when I say that, I don't think we're looking outside to fill that void immediately. We're looking really potentially outside for guys that would come in and bring maybe veteran depth, but not to come in and play. I think we've got the expectation that we can fill the starting spot from within our building, and that's the plan that we do have. But we're continuing to kind of look at, all right, what are those things around the league? What does it look like? And we'll always explore those options.
With Troy moving into a starting role, what does the backup spot look like? Could that potentially open up opportunities for a guy like David Long, or what does that look like?
It could. Any time that you end up moving somebody up, it really kind of has an effect on the entire group. So David Long is somebody. You look at Darius Williams; he's done some good things. So the cornerback position is a spot that we feel like we've got some good depth at. We've got some good younger players, and That's something that I think as the season progresses, usually you find out that you use your entire 53-man roster as a result of just some of the things that naturally occur throughout the course of the year. And I think David Long is somebody that has made positive steps, and as has Darius Williams. Yeah, I thought they did a good job in some instances. There were some things that we can obviously clean up. Malcolm got banged up and ended up missing some time, and then he ended up coming back in the game. So he's so tough. He fought through it. But I thought you saw really in the first drive, our offense as a whole, you see the tough runs. You see him leveling some things off. Certainly the first 2 carries that Darryl had were very exciting. And I think, in a lot of instances, too, there were some things that you can see. He's a young player that we do have a lot of confidence in, but he's got to learn from some of those things, and we expect him to be better, moving into the Falcons game this week. It's safe to say that we'll have more information on that. Like I said, that second opinion will predicate whether he's available or he might end up missing some extended time. Okay, thanks, guys.